This episode is proudly supported by Powerhouse Parramatta.
Powerhouse Parramatta is set to open in 2025 and is looking to feature the very best in hospitality and attract operators to help redefine their food and beverage retail and catering. This incredible opportunity for potential operators includes retail food and beverage, in-house residential catering, events, powerhouse food, and other hospitality opportunities. The food program will be a world first for a cultural institution. Powerhouse invites all interested food and beverage operators to a briefing on Tuesday, the 8th of August, to learn more about the opportunities. For more information and to register your interest, go to powerhouse.com.au.
We have lots to offer, and it is still not fully explored by the world, I would say, because world knows Indian food for certain things, but there are so many different regions world doesn't know about it, which is what we chefs from India are now trying to do.
Anyone who's listened to this podcast for a while will not be surprised to learn that Indian is one of my absolute favourite cuisines. And even as I say that, I feel remiss because there are so many different cuisines in the incredible country that is India. We are speaking to one of India's best chefs today. Manish Mehrotra has the very famous Indian Accent restaurant in Delhi. It's been named one of Asia's top 50 restaurants. He's soon to visit Australia for a pop-up at Tonka in Melbourne. Manish, welcome to Dirty Linen.
Thank you so much.
It's so great to have you on the show. I love eating Indian food. I love trying to cook it, and I certainly love to eat it. Let's start with Indian Accent. Tell us about this restaurant of yours.
Indian Accent started in 2009. Years of Indian Accent, and for me, I'm Indian, but I was always trained as a Pan-Asian chef. I specialized in Thai cuisine, and I used to run Pan-Asian restaurant for this company, which I worked for last 23 years. And we got a new location, and there we were deciding that what kind of a restaurant we have to open. And at that time, I was in London. And in London, I saw so many Indian restaurants which were doing something different with Indian food. So I decided to ask my boss that let me give me a chance to do an Indian restaurant, and which will be a different kind of Indian restaurant, and where food is the way I want to do Indian food. And Indian Accent happened in 2009, and here we are after 14 years.
So give us an example, Manish. What is your style of Indian food? What are the dishes that you transformed or developed or put your own spin on?
See, I was never trained in a traditional Indian kitchen under the masters of Indian cuisine. So I had no prior backlog that this recipe is supposed to be done like this. I was always trained as a Pan-Asian chef, worked in London for 4 years. So I had played with a lot of ingredients in London. So my idea was to do Indian food where food at heart, the flavors were Indian, but with a unique combination. There are certain ingredients you don't use in Indian cuisine. So use those ingredients also, some kind of proteins. So usually unusual combination which was not seen in Indian cuisine before. And that is how to represent Indian food, so that it is not only Indian food, but it becomes global Indian food, so that people from outside India can also relate to it. One example is like a blue cheese naan. That was one of the first dish we did for Indian Accent. And now, even after 14 years, we serve it as our amuse-bouche in the restaurant. So why blue cheese and the naan? And the blue cheese, because blue cheese is very, very acquired taste for Indian palate. because first time when I tasted blue cheese, I said, "Who the hell eats this thing?" and and for common Indian, it is absolutely a very, very acquired taste. So we did blue cheese naan because bread and blue cheese is a classic combination. And when you stuff the blue cheese in the naan and you cook it in the tandoor, it toned down the flavor a little bit, and it has become more palatable for Indian palate. And the savoriness of blue cheese, pungency of blue cheese, with the smoky naan, it goes fantastically well together.
When you mentioned that you were trained in Pan-Asian cuisine, are there some Asian ingredients that you brought into Indian accent?
Instead of definitely there were many ingredients which I used it Indian accent, but the major thing which I got from Pan Asian food to Indian accent is the cooking method. Usually, when in India we cook vegetables, we tend to overcook it and we tend to cook it so that we lose the texture. And the texture of vegetable in Pan Asian food is the perfect when you cook things quickly and when you don't overcook it. So that thing which I really feel happy that I learned from Pan Asian cuisine and I got in Indian food, where all the vegetable, not only its flavor, their textures also speak in a dish.
So would you even use a wok sometimes?
Yes, sometimes we use wok in one or two elements in a dish, and we when we finish the dish, in the end we use something in wok and then plate it on a plate.
Yeah, wonderful. And who would you say are the main customers that come to your restaurants?
In India, definitely we have loads of Indians who come to Indian accent, but yes, we have a lot of expats who come to Indian accent, and in New York restaurant we have mostly New Yorkers who come to Indian accent.
That's, really fascinating. So I'd love to know a bit about your background. Can you tell us where you grew up in India and what place food had in your family?
I was born in a city of Patna in Bihar, slight eastern Gangetic plain near Varanasi, and born and brought up in a completely vegetarian household. My father never used to eat even onion and garlic, so and till my grandmother was alive, we used to eat eggs also on a terrace, on a separate set of stove and the crockery, and that crockery and stove was not allowed to enter the house. So it was a completely vegetarian household. But definitely nobody stopped us from eating anything outside the house. So yes, we used to visit relatives and all, so we used to eat all different things. But with a vegetarian household, the biggest education I got for my cooking is that with limited ingredients, with simple food can be delicious. You don't need hundreds of spices or hundreds of different ingredients or paraphernalia around the dish to make something tasty. Even with the limited ingredients, if you cook it well, your technique is good, it can be delicious.
So what were some of the first dishes that you ever cooked?
See, mostly when you ask, usually you ask chefs that how you became chefs. So most of the time chefs says that they were inspired by their grandmother or they used to cook with their mothers. But nothing of that sort happened with me. Definitely, food was all around in the house. We would used to live in a joint family, so it was a very, very big family. We used to celebrate all the festivals and everything with food and all. But going to the kitchen when I joined my hotel school, there I decided that kitchen was the most innovative thing in a hotel, and that is why I chose kitchen, and it's been now 30 years.
Wow, incredible. I think you'll be surprised to know that I've actually been to Patna. I traveled around Bihar, and yeah, it's such an interesting place with so much history, Buddhist history.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And one thing I remember from Patna is the granary that overlooks the city, like this big, I don't know if I'm remembering it correctly, but like a sort of domed.
Golghar, yes, Golghar, yes.
Tell me about that. It's like a domed building, and was grain stored inside it?
Yes. During the time of Britishers, it used to be a granary. It used to be grain storage. It was built during the time of Bengal famine and to store grain. And now it has become like a historic monument. And I live very, very close to that place, and my school was, and the boundary wall of Golghar was same. So we used to look at it every day.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yes, a lot of great memories of that city, and people usually don't consider Bihar as a foodie place, because Bihar was always highlighted as a political hotbed of India. But food in Bihar is fantastic and really, really unique.
Oh, that's so interesting, because I mean it's not too far from Calcutta.
Yes.
And what is this? What are some of the signature dishes or styles of Bihar?
There are people know only few things about Bihar, that litti chokha and few things, the dumplings and all these things. But there are various cuisines in Bihar where it comes from royal to the Brahmins to the lower caste. All different cuisines are there in Bihar, and the amount of great meat dishes and river water fish dishes are amazing in Bihar.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you said before, you learned that you don't need fancy ingredients to create something wonderful. I think that the cuisine, that's the resourcefulness of the cuisine in, I suppose, all parts of India, but especially perhaps the East, is really remarkable.
Yes.
So tell me about this transition to working in five-star hotels, being trained in these very different types of food. I mean, was it, you mentioned the creativity, was it that swept you along? Was it the sort of the theatre of dining? What engaged you as you made your way in your career?
See, food is one such thing, which is a necessity also, and it's luxury also, it's indulgence also. And India is such a big country. We have so many different cuisines and regions that we have food for indulgence, we have food for healing, we have food for every occasion, every palate in the world. We use all different sorts of cooking method in different parts of India, from baking to smoking to pickling to fermentation. Everything is there in India, and it's not new. But traditionally, over thousands of years, these methods and all these were used in India. We have lots to offer, and it is still not fully explored by the world, I would say, because world knows Indian food for certain things, but there are so many different regions world doesn't know about it, which is what we chefs from India are now trying to do, that taking regional dishes, giving it a little bit of twist so that everybody can relate to it, and now presenting it to the world. So that is what we are trying to do.
Is there a region of India that you're really sort of working on at the moment, that you're trying to bring to the fore, something that you feel is a bit less discovered or known by the wider world?
There are many regions like northeast of India is still, people don't know about it. Even in India, people don't know about it that much. 10 years back, people from north. When I was a kid in Patna, hardly people knew about South Indian food. There was only few things like a dosa or a idli. They know about South Indian food. They didn't knew that South India is so vast and cuisine is so diverse, and there are so many things. Even in North India, people never used to know about it, but now slowly, people are getting familiar with different parts of India, even in India, which is very, very good. And at the moment, I am in Mumbai because we are opening Indian Accent in Mumbai very, very soon. So my trials are going on in Mumbai. And now we are in Mumbai, which is different from Delhi. So the menu is such that we take some local things also in the menu, and we've created a new tasting menu for Mumbai, which is totally different from Delhi. So India has got different region, and we try to explore each and every region in every different menu changes.
So exciting. I love Mumbai. It's just the most incredible city to explore. And I think it's, for me, I have never been to Gujarat, but I learned a lot about Gujarati cuisine in Mumbai because you see it so much there.
Yes.
Yes. Those Gujarati thalis are just so incredible with 15 dishes on one plate. And I really want one right now. So tell us about your trip to Australia and what we can expect to see from you, Manish.
I'm really excited to be there and cooking for the first time. I've been to Australia 9 years back, but at that time it was more of a trip to explore different parts of Melbourne. Went to Yarra Valley and tried different restaurants and everything. So that time it was more of a to explore Melbourne and surrounding areas. But this time, first time cooking in Melbourne for people. It's Melbourne. So really excited. My team is so excited because, and the biggest challenge is when in Australia is when I do pop-ups all over the world, or when we do any events all over the world, we carry a lot of food and ingredients with us. But in Melbourne, we are not carrying even a grain of salt. So whatever we are going to do, we'll start from the scratch in Melbourne. And that is really exciting.
Oh, that's really exciting. I wonder what produce you'll discover. Do you think you'll use perhaps Australian seafood?
Yes, we are going to use everything from there. Wow,
I'll be interested to learn what you make of it and how different it is. I think we're having a pretty exciting time with Indian food in Australia, with a lot of young chefs expressing regional food, putting their own spin on it. It's there's a lot to be excited about, but it'll be amazing to see what you think of that, as well as what you bring to the city yourself.
Yes, we're really excited about it.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Manish, it's been wonderful to catch up with you. Very exciting to learn more about Indian Accent, and that you're opening another one in Mumbai. I'll have to put that on my list next time I get over there. Thanks so much for spending time with us today, and I look forward to welcoming you to Melbourne.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinenat.deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This